Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Rock Bottom Airsoft. It's good to see you again. If it's your first time here, then as always, it's good to see you. I hope you'll stick around. Okay, well, welcome to one of our normal weekend videos where we look to discuss all aspects of Airsoft. Gear reviews, replica reviews, unboxings, tech, pretty much anything you can think of in our great hobby Airsoft. We do that normally every weekend, and midweek we'll normally look to do our gameplay videos. So there was a gameplay video out earlier this week, and that kind of ties in with the video that I'm doing today. So before we get into that, as always, if you are enjoying my series of videos, then please do subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss any of my uploads, any bonus uploads I might do, or our regular weekday gameplay and weekend Airsoft discussions. If you do want any more content from the channel, there is a lot of content to be had on Facebook and Instagram, where you can find Rock Bottom Airsoft on there. As a lot of you may know, I was recently at a free day event at Tazball Airsoft called the Highlander, the Gathering. 3 days of Airsoft, it was great. Got loads of footage at it. One of the videos that was out on Wednesday this week was actually me doing the Pistol Elite contest, which was a target-based contest. What I'll do is I'll put a link in the description to that video, and then if you haven't seen it already, you could maybe have a watch of that, and you'll see me running that pistol course and see how I got on. Giveaway, I didn't do that well at it, but it was good fun anyway. I had good fun trying. So all that's to be found on Facebook and Instagram, so I hope you'll check that out. And like I say, if you enjoy this video as well, then please do drop a like on it. And if you have any questions at all for me, or anything you'd like to ask, then do drop me a comment. I'll always reply to a comment. I'll never ignore them. Might not get back to them straight away, but I will try to get back to them as quick as I possibly can. So with that all out of the way, what are we going to look at today? Well, as I mentioned, I did do the Pistol Elite contest, and in that contest I used what some people might think was an unusual choice of pistol for a pistol contest. I used my WE 1911 MEU. Now, it's one of my favourite pistols, believe it or not. If you have a look at reviews online, you'll see very mixed reviews for the WE 1911 MEU. A lot of people don't like it, and I will go into the reasons why they don't like it, but I'll also give you the reasons why I do like it and why it's one of my favourite pistols. So let's have a look at it first of all. Now, I've had this pistol for quite a long time. It's one of my older pistols. I've used it in many games, so I'm safe to tell you that I've had plenty of use out of it, and that I recommend it based on the use that I've had out of it. Now, the WE 1911 MEU is basically a 1911 replica. As you can probably see, it's full blowback. It's also full metal. The only bits of plastic on this pistol are these rubberized pistol grips, which incidentally are really nice pistol grips. It wraps all the way around the pistol grip there, and it is very comfortable. It feels very nice in the hand. It gives you a really good grip, and it beefs out the pistol grip a little bit, so it does feel very nice. A normal standard 1911, maybe an old school 1911, will normally come with wooden grips or maybe slim grips down the front. They don't normally wrap all the way around. Now, the only difference with this is this is based on the MEU version, which was the Marine Expeditionary Unit it stands for, and it was a pistol that was in use with the US Marines for until relatively recently, really. The 1911 itself design, as the name implies, has been around for a very long time, and hasn't really changed much, to be faithful to the original. I got this because I have a soft spot for 1911s. As most of you know, my favourite pistols are G-series pistols. I really like the G-series pistols, but I would say that this 1911 gets as much use as my G-series pistols. Another reason it has a soft spot to me is it's the first gas blowback pistol that I ever purchased. So this has been running for quite a few years and has been used in a lot of games. So what do you get? Well, if you're buying one of these yourself, the WE Tech 1911 MEU, you'll basically get the pistol, as you can see here. That is what you'll get. What I'll do is I will give you a quick look around the pistol in a moment, and then you can have a good close look at it. You also get this magazine. This is the magazine that comes with the pistol. This is an MEU magazine. As you may notice, if you're used to the 1911 magazines, it's got a slightly extended base plate on the magazine. It's also got a stainless or a chrome finish to the magazine. And that is the magazine you will receive with the pistol. Just a standard green gas magazine, but very nice. Nice and shiny. That's not to say when we go into it there aren't other options for magazines, but that is the one that you'll get with it in the box. And obviously you get a small instruction sheet, which I'm not going to go through because it's the same instructions you always get. Basically, don't shoot yourself in the face and don't wander around town with it and that type of thing. The usual instructions that you get with many Chinese made airsoft pistols or replicas. So let's have a quick look around the pistol and see what we think. Okay, so we've had a nosy around the pistol, we've had a look at it, so we know what we get in the box. We get a magazine, an instruction sheet, and you get the 1911 itself. Now, if you were fancying one of these pistols, one of the reasons I got it as one of my first pistols, and one of the reasons I like it, is because it's relatively affordable for a full metal gas blowback pistol. Full metal gas blowback pistols normally command quite the premium, as you may know with some of the other pistols you may have looked at. Now, the 1911 MEU, you can get two versions of it. The version I have has not got a rail on it. You can get a railed version where you'll have a small Picatinny rail along the bottom here, and that's for attaching accessories such as torches, lasers, that type of thing. Anything you'd want to attach to a railed section on a pistol. They call that the tactical or the railed MEU. Now, it's usually slightly more expensive for the railed one. I believe the railed one is available in tan or black, mine obviously being in black, and not having the rail. Now, if you were to get the railed version, from what I've seen for prices, you're looking at around about £105 British pounds, all the way up to £120. If you want the non-railed version, like I have here, which has the more traditional 1911 lines to it, you're looking at a price of around about £100, all the way up to £110, which for a gas blowback full metal pistol is quite affordable. It's quite reasonable. Magazines can range. If you get a standard black magazine with this extended base plate that we mentioned, which is an MEU specific magazine, those magazines set you back around about £19. If you want one of these magazines specifically like this pistol comes with, the silver magazine with the extended base plate and MEU one, you're looking at around about £30 for one of those green gas magazines. With regard to magazines, you can also get standard 1911 magazines, which you might notice here are pretty much identical, apart from it's black and it doesn't have the extended base plate, but that causes no problems. The magazines load and lock absolutely fine, and the pistol will fire from those magazines without issue. I actually kind of prefer the standard 1911 magazines. I don't mind those magazines at all. I find them easier to fit in a pouch, and obviously they're cheaper. So that's always an advantage for us here at Rock Bottom Airsoft. So that's the pricings you're looking at. Magazines, relatively affordable, similar prices to what you're going to pay for most gas blowback magazines. The pistol itself, not a bad price at all. Around about £100, you can get yourself into a full metal, pretty authentic looking 1911 replica. I chose the MEU version because it's a bit more modernised. I mean, it's still a 1911, but you've got the skeletonized trigger, the skeletonized hammer, and obviously this wraparound pistol grip, which is really nice. So some of the features of the pistol are, this pistol being blowback, it does lock back on the last round, and then you put in your magazine and your slide release. As with all 1911s, is on the side there. That releases a slide and you're ready to go for your next one. It's a hammer system on this. It's not striker fired, so you have got the hammer on the back there. As some of you may know, with the 1911 design, you've got a number of safety options on this. There's a physical safety switch which is ambidextrous, which when you click that up, it locks the slide. The slide cannot go back with the safety flicked up. It also locks the trigger. There's a trigger bar on there as well, which I can show you. If we rack the pistol, the hammer's back, normally we would fire. However, if we put the hammer back and then put the safety on, the hammer will not go down. So there's a physical safety. There's another safety that's particular to the 1911 style. With the hammer back, we have what we call the beaver tail safety at the back here, which is this. If we aren't holding the pistol properly, then the hammer will not fall. You have to put pressure onto the beaver tail before it will fall. And it's surprising, you don't have to put a lot of pressure on that beaver tail at all. It does not take a lot of pressure for that to function. Just a normal grip on the pistol and it will operate. Overall, a very nice weighty pistol. It's got a good feel to it. The blowback on it is reasonable. You have an adjustable rear sight, and then you just have a fixed post for your front sight. The rear sight has the red dots, the white dots on there to help pick it up in low light conditions. You've got marking there for 45 ACP, which is what the real 1911 fires. So yeah, I mean, the features wise, the pistol is what it is with a 1911. You also do get a lanyard strap on this one, which I like. I do use a lanyard when I'm out in the field, and as you can see, that's had quite a bit of clipping on and off, which is why it's a bit scratched up. This has got a bit scratched up, obviously, because it's been used so many times in game. Now, the 1911 is well presented in its box. WE pistols do tend to come in a nice box, so it's the standard for those. But I mean, if you were thinking of one of these pistols, there is a few drawbacks to it. First of all, with it being a 1911 based pistol, you have what we call single stack magazines. If you're used to your G series pistols or even high cappers, which we'll have a brief look at in a moment, those pistols have what they call double stack and can hold a lot more BBs. These pistols, just like the real 1911, these magazines are single stack, so they're very narrow, very thin, very easy to get in a pouch, but they only hold between 10 to about 12 BBs at a push. So, you know, you are limited on your round count. Another disadvantage of these single stack magazines is that obviously your gas reservoir is based in the magazine when you're using green gas. Now, on a double stack magazine, the magazine is much wider. So you would have much more space to store gas, and so you will be able to get a lot more shots out of the magazine before you have to regas it. These magazines do not hold a lot of gas. They're very limited for gas. I can normally empty a magazine with one gas charge without a problem in this pistol, but that is primarily in summer. Here in the Scottish Highlands in winter and autumn, the temperatures can go very low. And I have had issues with this pistol in winter. The gas reservoir is so low that sometimes you may struggle to get a full magazine out of it before you're out of gas. That is the main drawback, I would say, to a single stack 1911 that doesn't run on CO2. if you have CO2 magazines or a CO2 version of this, then you may not get those problems in the winter. You'll still have the limited round count, but you'll be able to get a lot more rounds through the magazine before you have to regas it. As we were saying about magazines there, you don't have to buy the MEU one. Standard 1911 green gas magazines will fit and they'll feed absolutely fine. The WE ones, they're slightly cheaper and I kind of like them. They're very simple, but they work. But you do still have the same problem because you've still got a very narrow magazine with a very narrow gas well in there. So it's going to have the issues of needing to be gassed up frequently. Now that brings me on to another drawback of this pistol. Obviously on the final shot the slide should lock back. You put another magazine, hit the slide release and you're good to go. Now I'm not sure, from what I've read online it seems that other people have had the issue, but I know with my WE 1911 it's very rare that the slide will lock back on the final shot. It'll normally not lock back at all and will just keep going and you're just expending gas but no BBs. Now that is quite the disadvantage. It hasn't put me off it. I can usually tell when I'm no longer firing BBs and I'm just doing blank shots. However, it will lock back. The lock back function does work. It's just sometimes if your gas is getting low, there isn't enough to lock that slide back. It's a big heavy metal slide. As we've just mentioned, it's a full metal pistol. So if your gas is getting low, that will cause you a problem. It won't lock back. It's rare that it does. The only other issues I've had with this is slightly after I got it when I was relatively new to the sport and certainly new to gas blowback pistols, is I did use this quite a lot in winter. I tried higher power gases on it and things, and I did end up breaking the loading nozzle. Which we won't go into too much detail over. It's a part that's relatively easy to fix. If you want me to do a video on how to replace the loading nozzle in a gas blowback pistol, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to do that video. It's quite easy to replace one. But yeah, the loading nozzle broke due to the cold weather and I had to replace it. However, that was about 2.5 years ago and I've never had to do anything else to this pistol since. I've just cleaned it and kept it well lubricated, and it's worked absolutely fine for me. And as you can see in the video for Pistol Elite that I did, it worked well for me there. It worked well on the target range. There was no problem. I managed to empty the magazine bar one BB, and the only reason that last BB wasn't fired is because I didn't need to fire it. I'd hit all the targets already. So yeah, as a first pistol, or even if you just like 1911 pistols, I can definitely recommend the WE 1911 MEU. If you're looking for something that has a little bit more function, if you like, if it's something that has more rounds per magazine and can hold a little bit more gas, and you're not just going for it purely from the aesthetic of a 1911, there is an in-between option. You can go for something called a high capper. And just as a comparison, this is my Taran Tactical high capper. Same basic principle, based on a 1911 design. You've still got the safety that's ambidextrous, you've still got the beaver tail safety, but obviously with one of these pistols, it's what's called a high capper. So it's basically designed to hold more rounds, if you like. You can see on this magazine, it's a double stack. So the magazine is a lot thicker than a standard 1911. There's your standard 1911 magazine next to it, so it holds much more gas and it holds a lot more BBs. So in a game environment, you're not going to have to reload a high capper quite as often. The high capper function wise is near enough identical to a 1911. Your controls, everything else is in the same place. It's just a bigger magazine in the airsoft world, basically. So that's a trade-off. Now a high capper pistol will normally cost you a little bit more money than one of these 1911 MEUs. They are a little bit more expensive. The mags are a little bit more expensive, but you do have a wealth of modification options on high cappers, especially the Tokyo Marui high cappers. Lots of aftermarket parts available for those, lots of upgrades available. However, if you are looking for a bare bones, back to the original 1911, I could certainly recommend this WE 1911 MEU. It looks the part, It's a traditional 1911. It's the shape of a 1911. There's something very satisfying about racking a 1911. I certainly like it. Holsters for these are plentiful. You'll have no problem getting a holster. The magazines are easy to get hold of. Spare parts are easy to get hold of for this WE 1911. So there we go. So that's the pistol that I was using in Pistol Elite. I really like it. I can strongly recommend it. I know a lot of people don't recommend it. You'll see a lot of negative reviews on various forums and things. And you know, a lot of their criticisms I definitely agree with. I certainly have issues with the gas reservoir, and I certainly have issues with it not locking back on the final shot. However, functionally, it's always been fine for me. In summer, I can easily get a magazine and a half maybe out of one of these with one gas charge. In the winter, I tend not to use it. If I had CO2 magazines, I could maybe give those a try out on it. But as many of you probably know, I tend to run most of my pistols on green gas only to try and get a bit of longevity out of them. So there we go. That's the WE 1911 MEU. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you like the pistol. If you have a 1911 of any description, or if you have any comments to make or any questions about this pistol, then drop me a comment below. I'll always get back to you, as I mentioned earlier. But overall, thanks very much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one.